Trying to predict the future is a discouraging and hazardous occupation because, try as we can, we'll never outguess it.
No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come.
The only thing we can be sure of about the future is that it will be absolutely fantastic.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
A world in which we can be in instant contact with each other, wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. However, the most intelligent inhabitants of that future world won't be men or monkeys. They'll be machines, the remote descendants of today's computers.
Watson, what is narcolepsy?
Looking as far into the technological future as I dare, I'd like to describe the invention to end all inventions. I call it the replicator, and it's simply a duplicating machine.
And one soft-boiled egg. And one soft-boiled egg. Thanks, Mom.
And yet, you know, human beings are almost infinitely adaptable. Look at the incredible changes we've experienced and survived from the Stone Age to the present time. And yet even greater changes are still to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CEO and co-founder of Conductor, Seth Besmertnik.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. You guys ready for an amazing C3 2017? Awesome. So the opening was about the future. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about is the future and what we're going to do about it. But we wanted to have a little bit of fun with this idea, so we went to the streets of Manhattan and we asked a bunch of strangers, if you could see the future, what would you do?
What would I do if I could predict the future? I would take advantage of it and place myself in a better financial situation.
I would try to help people. That's what I would spend my days doing.
I'd buy a lottery ticket and then obviously win it in the future, win millions of pounds.
What would I do? I'd try to be the president of the United States.
Yeah, stop a catastrophe.
Gamble.
Like, alert everyone if bad things are going to happen. I don't know.
Or I'd be selfish. I'd make a lot of money on bets. Sorry, that's all.
If I could predict the future, I would save the people.
Maybe I would do something to stop climate change.
I'd buy a lottery ticket.
What would I do if I could predict the future? I would go and change all the bad things. Like election results, for instance.
I would tell my friends what's going to happen and my family so they can be prepared. But that's it.
So we're clearly a confused species, somewhere between helping and gambling. So I have some good news, some bad news, and some good news. So the good news is if you're in a screening room, we've given you all lottery tickets. So we've got a bunch of scratch-offs. Hopefully you can do them afterwards, but we're partners if you win, me individually. The bad news is that last I checked, crystal balls that you can see the future, they're in early alpha, and they just don't exist, so we're not going to be able to see the future. However, oftentimes the past and the present are really good indicators of what's going to happen in the future. Like, for example, if you would have used one of these guys when they first came out, you would have known that everyone was going to be using these things. And if you would have seen this guy playing basketball in high school, you would have known that the future was going to be one where he was one of the greatest athletes and champions of existence. And if you would have seen this guy, I had to go there, sorry. If you would have seen this guy campaigning, you would have known that if he were to be elected president, the future would be one that would be a bit of a mess. Not taking any sides. Just be a little bit crazy. My point is that sometimes we can see the future, but it's about whether we take action. It's about whether we take action. Do we lean into the future or do we get stuck? And often your ability as a person and as a company to get unstuck has a huge outcome. I'll show you an example. So we'll talk about Kodak. So if you don't know Kodak, ask your parents. It was a very successful American iconic brand. At one point, they had 150,000 employees, Kodak. And they actually, in the 1970s, they invented the first digital camera. Not quite something you could throw in your pocket, but they invented the first digital camera. Fast forward about 20 years, and Canon, digital cameras are starting to take off, and Canon was starting to diversify their investments and invest aggressively in digital cameras. Meanwhile, Kodak continued to say, you know what, film is the way to go. This digital camera thing, it's not real, it's just a trend, it's not going to happen. People aren't going to want to, not have to take 20 pictures and get a new piece of film and put them in your refrigerator, all that stuff. So they keep investing in what they were doing. And what happened? They were destroyed by their own invention. They went out of business, and today Kodak is nothing more than a story at C3 and probably a bunch of stuff you can buy on eBay. Meanwhile, Canon, one of our customers, continues to reinvent itself, continues to innovate, continues to see the future, continues to disrupt their existence to do something better for the future. Here's another example. So as a kid, there was nothing better than a Saturday night at the movie rental place. Look around, when you check out, remember you could buy like the single-serve popcorns. Love that. And if you're in the video rental business, it was a ground game. It was like having as many locations as possible, and Blockbuster emerged as the leader. This was the mecca. This was like where you were at, so you see your friends. Then eventually Netflix came along, and they came up kind of a better mousetrap where you can kind of do the Blockbuster experience, but do it on your computer, and they'd send it by snail mail, so you send the CDs. You remember we used to get those DVDs. Then technology changed everything. We started to see that when you went to cable, you can start to look through lots of movie options, and then that little button started showing up in our remote on demand, and this was a real change. And on top of that, broadband was starting to become ubiquitous. So what did Blockbuster do? They bought more stores. They doubled down on the past. They bought more stores. They acquired more stuff. They did more. They acquired all of the disrupted, disgruntled video rental businesses, and we know how that worked out for them. And what did Netflix do? Well, the founder of Netflix made a really, really bold change and launched what's now a standard for delivering content, which is streaming subscription content. And for those of you who remember, when they launched this was a big, it was like $7.99. Their core product was like $20. Their stock went down by 50% the day they announced this. It was a disaster. But they had the courage to lean into the future, to take even with all of its uncertainty, and take the chances. And ultimately, today, they have almost 100 million subscribers, and the company is worth something like $65 billion. All right, so what does this stuff have to do with you guys? So we have a choice. So we each individually and our companies have a choice. Do we want to stay in the past and do what we've been doing, like Kodak? I'm sure in your head you're shaking your head like this. Or do we want to be like Reed Hastings and Netflix and move into the future? So this event today and tomorrow is about helping us see the future, and it's about helping us figure out how we can use it to our benefit, how we can make it so it improves our careers, our lives, and the performance of our organizations. And what I'm really excited about is that this change that's happening, which I'm going to talk about, it's not going to be led by the CEOs of your companies. It's going to be led by you guys. It's going to be led by you guys. It has to be led by you guys. So to talk about this change, I want to just take a second and just go into the past. I love talking about this, because this is when life was easy. This is a family sometime long ago. But this is what marketing was like. Families, they'd crowd around the TV. When the commercials came, you watched those commercials. When you listened to the radio, you listened to those ads. When you read your magazines, you watched it. For marketers, they had an incredibly captive audience. If you put something in front of them, you would do it. I've always been scared to show this, but I want to do it now. But I've always thought about this as the Clockwork Orange era of marketing. Sorry if I'm grossing anybody out. If you bought enough media and you had a good enough ad or a jingle, then you pretty much were doing a good job as a marketer. I mean, that's what it was like, because you had a captive audience. But then technology, once again, has changed everything. Cable networks have fragmented things, DVR, so you can turn off commercials, And ultimately, just the internet has just changed the entire face of all of media. And today, customers just have incredible control. You guys are all customers. You guys are all customers of something else, and you have incredible control. You want what you want, you get what you want, and you avoid all the things you don't want. And what's going to happen is just people and customers are just going to get more and more and more powerful. And you guys, the people in this room, we're here at C3, so we get this. We either get this, we want to get it, we're here. There's no doubt. We understand this. Not trying to preach to the choir much longer. However, outside of this room, and in our companies and outside, there's a lot of old school marketing going on. There's a lot of old school marketing. We continue to try to find ways to disrupt and interrupt and avoid and do more impressions, more of this, push our message. I was trying to prep for this, and I was reading. I wanted to watch Joe Paluzzi from the last C3, and I was trying to get inspired and get ideas for this keynote. And what happened as I go to watch this? Well, apparently, I need a Dodge Ram pickup truck to drive around Manhattan because it's rough and tumble streets. And that's exactly what I was thinking about. The skip ad button could not have come fast enough. And it's amazing. My little 4-year-old daughter, Zuela, when she watches Peppa the Pig, she's like, skip ad, skip ad, skip ad. She just waits for that thing. It's amazing. She says it, too, when she does it. It's crazy. It's Super Bowl. We just came out of the Super Bowl. Another great example of this mindset. And I'm gonna pick on one company today. And it's Tide, the Procter & Gamble brand. So did anyone see the Tide commercial at the Super Bowl? They had a fantastic commercial. It was Terry Bradshaw, who's normally at the Super Bowl, all of a sudden you don't realize it's a commercial, and he's talking, he's got a stain on his shirt. And then it breaks. You start to realize it, so they kind of trick you into thinking it's a commercial, and not knowing it's commercial. It's a commercial. He's got a stain on his shirt. He freaks out. He gets in a golf cart. He's driving all around. All of a sudden, after a few seconds, he drives his way on the highway in a golf cart to Jeffrey Tambor's house. He asks him if he can wash his shirt. He washes his shirt. The stain comes out. It was a really entertaining, minute and 15 seconds, and it was one of the most elaborate commercials ever put on. They had deals with Fox. They had celebrities. They had deals with the NFL. They had the stadium rented out. It took them 7 full days of shooting. And the cost is speculated to be about $15 million for the media and another 5 to 10 for the production. So $20 to $25 million spent for the minute and 15 seconds. And what did they get? Well, they got a lot of good news. They got a lot of news in Ad Age, places like that. And then they got a lot of eyeballs, no doubt. Got a lot of eyeballs. But here's the thing. What if you actually got a stain on your shirt? What if you actually got a stain on your shirt and you wanted to get the stain out? What would you do? John, what would you do? you go to Google and you type "get stains out of clothes." That's what you would do. Hundreds of thousands of people look for this. And what would you find? You know where I'm going. There's no Tide here. There's no Tide here. And if you go to YouTube, there's no Tide here either. And it had me thinking, it's like, man, what if I had $20 million to spend? And I was Tide. And then I was thinking, I wonder what my head of services, Stefan Bajaya, would do if he had $20 million to spend on behalf of Tide.
Look at it is we should probably get 75 SEOs at what, $200,000 a piece. We're going to get the best ones money can buy. We're going to go get 40 content writers, $100,000 a piece. They're going to write some killer content. Then we're going to get 10 researchers to make sure we know all the topics people care about when it comes to cleaning stuff. Then we'll get a Searchlight subscription, because of course we need that to manage the whole thing. And then we need to make sure these people are fed, so we'll get them some chefs to make sure they get the food they need. Maybe they then need to relax because we're stressing them out, so we'll get them some massage chairs, 10 of them. And then they might be too relaxed, so I figure we got to get the best motivational speaker ever, Tony Robbins, to come in and actually do a motivational speech. And then when everyone's really amped up and we're doing really great, we'll bring in Springsteen just to round it out for a private show. By the way, I think I saved you $1 million in that equation. What do you think, Seth?
So when I go to look to get my stain out, is that going to help me? You can help me?
You bet your clean shirt and more.
Thank you very much, Stefan. So we're having some fun with Tide, no doubt. But my point is that marketers are wasting a lot of money on things that don't give people value. They're not changing things. I mean, Tide probably knows more about how to help people with their problems, yet they're not there. And that's because this whole era of this Clockwork Orange era of marketing, it is just over, right? People want what they want. They're going to get what they want, and they're going to look for it. And they're going to go out and look for the things they want. And the question is, are they going to find you guys? Are they going to find your companies? Are they going to find your products? Are they going to find your services? And the answer is yes, if your marketing provides value. So every year, this is our 6th C3. I always show 2 slides. This is 2 slides. You know, we have Amish, who's our first investor, and the first time we pitched the company, we have 5 people. I show this pie chart. People go to organic. Marketers spend money on paid. I've always showed this. It's a first C3, and we're not doing that anymore. Because it's not about organic and paid. It's not about that. What it's about is value or no value. Because when customers were captive, you didn't have to give them, you didn't have to give them value. They were automatically going to look at your stuff. But now people have choice, and if you give them value, whether it's in an ad or whether it's in content, they'll go through it, and if you don't, then they won't, right? And what does this word value really mean? I looked up value for the first time, creating this presentation. It's pretty simple. It's the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. It's something important. It's something there. And in order to give value to people, in order to give them value, you have to put your customers first. You have to put their needs, their wants, their curiosities, their dreams. You have to put that ahead of you. You have to start with them and then move to you. And this approach of marketing, it has a name. It has a name. It's been having a name, and it's called customer first marketing. And it's radically different than the way that a lot of us have been doing marketing. And to think about customer first marketing, it's about how you ask the questions when you start everything you do. So the old way of doing marketing, you ask these questions. Who do we sell our products to? How can we convince people to buy more? And when do we get them to buy again? This is I'm simplifying this, but this is the basic questions that our companies ask when we were starting all kinds of programs. The new way starts with this. What problems do we solve? It's the first thing you do. What problems do we solve? Now, who has these problems? What are they feeling like when they have these problems? And how will our customers find these solutions? By asking different questions, you get a much different outcome. And what you're really doing is you're putting your customers first instead of yourself. You're starting from the outside in, and you're working your way backwards. You're talking about customer needs instead of what your product does. You're using the customer voice, the words of the customers, how they think, how they talk, instead of your internal voice. And you're starting things organic-driven versus paid-driven. What I mean by that is you look at all the things that people like organically, your best tweet, your best piece of content, and you use your money to go and promote that. Promote the things that people already like. Because the customer-first marketer knows that the modern customer has a whole different expectation of you guys. They expect you when they have a problem that you're going to educate them. You're going to help them. And that's how you build trust. And you're going to give them something without expecting anything in return. And then when they're ready to buy something, you're going to help them decide, and you are going to be objective and non-biased, even if it means not talking about what you do or saying something good about someone else. And then when they become your customer, if we're lucky enough to get them to become our customer, we're going to be there to support them whenever they want. Right? You ever had that experience where you buy something and you go search or you look for something and they're right there? It's amazing. I'm going to show you an example that I experienced on the other side of customer-first marketing. So at Conductor, we were in the process of buying a business intelligence software. And one of the companies we were looking at was Domo. So I go to Google and I type in Domo reviews. And I click on the first result, like most people do. And I get to this site, Yerby, and I read this review. And it goes into pretty good detail, kind of executive, just perfect for my kind of attention span. You know, a little bit of attention, but not too much. And it starts telling me about the pros and cons of Domo. And there's a lot of very good things they're saying. Beautiful interface. You know, integrates all this good stuff that they're saying. So I read this article, I learned, and then I'm just kind of a curious guy. I was like, well, who is this Yerby company? So I click on the Yerby link, and I was in shock. Why was I in shock? Because this was one of their competitors. These guys sell business intelligence software too. It's one of their competitors. So what I did was I sent this to my team to go look at these guys, because they must be doing something good. They're certainly marketing pretty good. But this is a great example of customer-first marketing. They gave me what they want. Now, how do they show up number one? That's my next point. How do they show up number one? I'm positive that they don't have some expert wizard who knows the Google algorithms and all of that. The reason why they showed up number one is that they gave me what they want. They had the best piece of content for that particular search. They had the best piece of content. It was nicely written. It was nicely merchandised. It was all there. And that goes to my next point, which is the days of gaming Google and knowing algorithms and all that stuff. We're moving on past that. Because where we come from is this place where you make things for people, and then you think about search engines. And everybody's wondering, what's the latest update? What's this? And Penguin, Panda, blah, all this stuff. All these things are going on. But I've never met the founders of Google. Not yet. But I can promise that when they started their company, they were like, you know what? If you're really good at SEO, you should show up on top. If you're not good at SEO, you shouldn't show up on top. I guarantee you that was not their vision. And that vision is very much today's reality. And you guys, and this is what we tell all of our customers, there's only one algorithm that matters. There's only one algorithm that matters, and it's this one. It's the heart and the mind and the soul and the need of your customer. And if you just make that your North Star and you focus on giving them what they want, then that is what matters. This is your algorithm. And what this also means is when you don't show up for something, that means your company just does not provide value for that. Because Google is like the ultimate intersection between your business and the rest of the world. You don't show up there, you're not just not showing up, you just don't provide value. So we have a lot of customers doing some amazing things with customer-first marketing. One of them that I think is phenomenal that's here today is Charbroil. They make badass grills for your backyard and for other places. And I wanted to just quickly share a story with these guys for all of you.
Charbroil is a family-owned company and privately held. We've got 3 major businesses: gas grills, which is our largest; specialty grills, which encompasses charcoal, electric, smokers, as well as our parts and accessories business. I'd say the overall philosophy is really understanding the marketplace, both from a retail standpoint, a competitive standpoint, and then most importantly, from a consumer standpoint. And that's where we get the insights, because we can't have a marketing program without the consumer insights. We need to intimately understand that consumer, what they're desiring in their life from our brand, and not be self-serving, but serving the consumer.
When you think about how often consumers actually purchase grills, it's usually every 4 to 6 to sometimes 8 years. And we have an opportunity to engage those consumers during that time period so that we are actually top of mind when they do reconsider purchasing. And a great opportunity for us to do that is organic marketing. So we have great pieces of content that helps them decide what type of grill, what type of fuel, what type of smoker or fryer they're specifically looking for. And then we're also focusing on making content that allows them to enjoy that experience while they actually have their product. Because we have a small team, there's only so many initiatives that we can actually tackle throughout the given year. And Conductor was perfect for helping us focus and figure out where is our biggest opportunity within organic marketing. We set out a goal of being able to grow our organic content or organic traffic to our site by 10%, which was a pretty lofty goal considering it averaged about 1.5 to 2% growth in the previous years. But especially with Conductor's ability to help us focus, figure out the opportunities that really was going to deliver big for us, we ended up delivering results of 60% growth year on year.
Because at the end of the day, we want to win in the marketplace. We want to be number one with our consumer. So it all starts with research and delivering great product, and then have great messaging and content that the consumers desire.
Fantastic. Where's the Charbroil team? You guys here? You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for doing it. You guys are awesome. Always the best. So there's all levels of strategic approaches to customer-first marketing. There's tactical things, there's strategic things. You know, one of our customers is AAA. And these guys are in the business of providing a lot of help, a lot of assistance, a lot of savings. But what they found was that while they provide savings, people don't actually look for savings. They look for discounts. So they learned the voice of the customer, and they did a find and replace in their content where they took out the word savings, they put in the word discounts, pretty simple. I think they copy approved it. And in 30 days, they got 30% more traffic to their site just from doing that. It was fantastic. And we have our homepage is littered with stories like this. JanSport, another customer of ours, they had the chance to update their categories. And they had all the categories that you see on the left side of the screen. These are their old categories, and the little number in the brackets were how many times someone searched for those words. And you can see here, digital bags, not a lot of people looking for those. Laptop pads, another time, several orders of magnitude, 18,000 people look for a laptop pad. So what they did was they redid all their categories, they used the voice of the customer, and not only did that drive performance for the JanSport site, but all of their retailers and all their distributors of their products also got the benefit of this. IKEA. They took customer problems and named their products after them. Don't do this now. Don't do this now. But if you search in Google for my partner snores, the number 5 result is a day bed. Question is, who gets to sleep in that, the snoring person or the other one? So you wake them up. Some interesting stuff on here. She doesn't want to cuddle. So Marriott. When I remember reading this and I saw this quote and it like struck me right in my soul, which was the head of content said, we want to stop interrupting what the customer's interested in and we want to become that instead. That captures the very essence of this. So they put a big investment into coming up with the Marriott Content Studio. And they've been doing everything from short-term content to they actually made a film that's on YouTube. It's got over 5 million views. And they're really taking this really, really seriously. So you might be saying, well, why isn't this easier? Why aren't more people doing this? Why am I talking about this like I'm like almost romanticizing about this fantasy? Or why isn't more of this actually happening? It's because there's a lot of challenges. I was just looking at that challenge wall that's out there, and I saw a lot of things that I hear all the time. We hear about all these challenges and obstacles that we face to get this to happen, the things that you guys experience all the time. Things like this. It just takes too long. You can't see the results right away. I don't have any budget. I don't have headcount. I don't have resources. My goals are this, but that guy's goals are that. He doesn't want to pay attention. She doesn't want to listen to me. You know, we can't work together as a team. It's not a priority. We can't measure it. We don't have attribution. It's not going to help me for the Q1 number. All these things. When I hear all these things, I hear one thing, which is that your leadership doesn't buy in. It's not an organizational priority. They don't buy in. They don't see it. And that's because in other forms of marketing, you just throw money at the problem. In this one, you can't. It requires people working together. It's a hard thing for us to do. So I want to help change this, and I want to try to inspire some ideas for you guys to change this outcome. And I want to start what it looks like when you get past these results, when you get past these objections. So this is an actual email, didn't change a word of it other than taking a name, from a CEO of a $20+ billion company that I got less than a month ago. Hey, Seth, hope you're doing well. I was wondering how January worked out. How is February going to be? Are we moving forward fast enough? When do you think we're going to start talking about results and the ability to go bigger? How many people here are getting emails from their CEOs about when can we do more? I want to give you more stuff. I want to give you more resources. Anyone have any of those? My dad. Not a lot. I don't see a lot of these. So I want to work this. I want to work this out with you guys, and I want to use a movie clip to help with this.
I see dead people.
All right, so why am I playing this movie clip? I can really relate to this kid. I can really relate to him. Except I assure you, I don't see any dead people. If anyone does, I have a great shrink for you. I see customers. I see a lot of customers, and I know that you guys see customers too. But the problem is that our leadership doesn't see things. And if you can't see things, you can't act on them, you don't feel the urgency of them. Like, take a look at these teeth. There's some nice pearly whites right here. Look like some nice teeth. Now, dentists and hygienists have known this trick for years, right? People think they have good teeth, everything's good, don't need to brush, don't need to floss that much, everything's good. But when you put these little dental things in them, Look at this same set of teeth. Oh! You might think twice about getting up and brushing the teeth for that last, pre-brush before you go to bed after you see this. Because once you see something, you can't unsee it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As you get a little older, you just do what you want a little bit more. And I'm going there. What we're about to witness is nothing that would happen in New York City, just in the country somewhere. But this looks like a damn clean bed and hotel room. But when you shine that light, not so clean anymore. Not so clean anymore. All right. Sorry. Here's my point. Here's my point. Once you see something, you cannot unsee it. You cannot unsee it. When I go to a hotel room, I take the thing off, I put it someplace else. And what we have to do is we have to get our leadership to see things. So let's get this a little bit closer to home. This will scare you in a different way. Anybody ever seen one of these things? This is a good old-fashioned ranking report. Keywords, search volume, pages, ranks. I see a lot of these getting sent to leadership and directors and managers and all kinds of people. They see these things. This does absolutely nothing in terms of driving emotion, driving urgency, getting people to be excited, getting people to realize there's a lot going on. It's completely missing the boat. So I'm going to take the same information and try to bring a different story to it. And this is exactly what I did with that company that we got that big outcome that actually changed. Same exact thing I did. So did you know that there's 97 million people a year that are searching for Tide's core solutions, the problem that we've identified, that we solved? There's 97 million people a year that are searching for these things. And guess what? We're the 40% market share leader, except we show up less than 1% of the time. We are completely non-existent. And we're missing hundreds of millions of dollars by just not being existent. It's amazing. $97 million. 97 million searches. And within this, there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of things that we're not showing up for. I'm going to tell you a story. This is Tommy. Tommy's mommy and daddy have been doing his laundry his entire life. Now he's a big boy. He's growing up. He's going to college, freshman in college. He's got to learn to do laundry. We all have to do it. So what do? You go search for how to do laundry. And what do you find? You find instructions on how to do laundry. And then once again, you find Arm & Hammer right there, imprinted right on his brain. If he does laundry for 30 years, once a week, that's 1,600 loads of laundry. Every time he's going to be thinking about the first time he thought about laundry, it's that big yellow Arm & Hammer laundry detergent thing. Now, if you're working at Tide, this is unholy. You've got 97 million people looking for our stuff. There's 200,000 people a year that educate them, that search for how to do laundry. That's just one example of the 97 million. This is a big deal. It's sacrilegious that this is happening. But I know we can make a dent on this. I know we can put a plan together. I know we can make a dent on this. And if we made a dent on this, we can get in front of 10 million of our potential target audience, and it'd be worth $160 million to us. I could promise you, if you put the data together like this, and you kill those reports I showed earlier, and you present the statistic of the big stuff, and you show the tragedies that live within, you're going to make a difference. You're going to have people coming in. You're going to change the outcomes. Let me show you another example. Classic email I've seen for years. We all get these. Hey, Bob, doing a search on Google for laundry detergent. We don't show up. What can we do about this? So what's the standard response the marketing manager who gets this email does? Well, they get real nervous. Maybe their job is under pressure. They know that they don't have the help. They don't have all the things they want, but they get real nervous, and they do the typical response. Hey, David, thanks for the note. Our ranks fluctuate. It depends on where you're searching from. Obfuscate the problem, make it complicated, make it confusing, get him to go focus on something he understands. Google prefers other types of sites. Lose accountability. We're working on making more content this. We hope this will improve soon. Last I checked, Fortune 500 CEOs don't put a lot of bets on the word hope. We don't hope for many things that happen. Continue to be the guy with no budget, no resources, no money, putting your stickers up on the wall. There's another way. This was a huge opportunity. Here's what I would do if I get this note. Hey, David. I'm glad you noticed this. Actually, we don't show up for a whole lot of shit. We're the 40% market leader. But can you believe it? When someone wants to learn how to do laundry for the first time, we're completely non-existent, and what makes it worse is they see a big freaking Arm & Hammer box right in the search results. Man, if I just had 10% of that Super Bowl money, I could make a big difference. When do you want to meet to discuss? When your CEO emails you, respond with when do you want to meet to discuss. We're going to either live in the past and watch the world pass us by, or we're going to lean into the future and we're going to take chances. And we're going to take these meetings and we're going to take these opportunities and we're going to seize them. Because it's as I said before, it's our job to show our companies what customer-first marketing is about. It's our job to show them the existence. It's our job to show them the customers. Now, there's more to doing this. There's more to doing this than just convincing your leadership. There's a lot of bottoms-up kind of stuff to happen. It has to be part of the cadence of the business. It has to be part of everything you do. Everything in the culture has to be thinking about this. And it might take a lot of time to get there, but it has to start. And I'll show a couple of examples of companies that are doing this. One of them is HubSpot. So we're very, very fortunate to have Dharmesh, the founder of HubSpot, sitting right here and speaking today. Thank you, Dharmesh. When I saw this, I love this example. Because one of the core aspects of the HubSpot culture, which are the pioneers of inbound and doing great customer-first marketing, the best at it in the world, is when in doubt, favor the customer's problems. And what they do is they have a teddy bear sometimes that they bring to meetings, and this teddy bear is the customer. And it may sound silly, but I think it's actually brilliant because it's a mental and it's a cue to tell you that the customer's there. What would they do? You know, I don't know what happens when you get to them if you're like going around the room, but they're there to remind you. And these kinds of things, these are the things that have to happen to get it into your culture to constantly remind you of the customer. Swisscom, a big telecom company. They have walls like this in their office where they have the shoes of their customer. Remind me to think about the customer. I was at one of the biggest companies in the world. And they changed the name of their SEO team to the customer listening team. That's what they do. That's what their purpose is. I hear these things all the time. The voice of the customer. We're the voice of the customer team. Our job is to bring the voice of the customer into everything you do. There's all this. You guys, you have to think of your own way to bring this into the culture. So everything you do, you're just asking yourself in 1 second, what would the customer do? What does the customer need? What does the customer want? We're all going to benefit if we do that as customers and as businesses.